literally the most important thing you can do for your hormonal balance. And it's not just for your fertility, it's for your overall hormonal balance. And I genuinely don't care if you want to get pregnant or not. If you want a calmer period, less pain, better mood, and just feeling overall so much better in your life, you have more stable energy, fewer cravings, and a body that's not living in a constant state of inflammation, then the first and most important step is blood sugar stability. And you're probably like, okay, cool, but what does that actually mean when I'm standing in my kitchen and I'm hungry and I'm tired and I have a life? I'm going to explain it in a very simple and most practical way possible. And I'll give you a step-by-step plan you can start today. And before you roll your eyes and think this is just another wellness trend, let me give you proof that it actually matters. I had a client, 2 failed rounds of IVF. She came into my program absolutely done and dusted, like mentally finished, and we rebuilt her foundations: food, blood sugar control, nervous system, lifestyle structure. And she conceived naturally, and she gave birth now to a baby boy. Now, I'm not claiming blood sugar stability is the only reason, and I'm not promising a miracle. Fertility is incredibly complex, and it's never just one thing alone. But I'm saying when you create a body that's hormonally supported, less inflamed, and metabolically stable, then you stop fighting yourself. And for a lot of you, that's actually the missing base layer, the missing foundation. So let's have a look at what is actually blood sugar stability. Now, it means that you're reducing big spikes and crashes in glucose throughout the day, because every spike requires insulin. And insulin is here not just your diabetes hormone. Insulin talks to your ovaries and it interacts with cortisol and stress hormones. It influences directly inflammation, and it also affects ovulation quality, your cravings, your mood, your energy, literally everything. Now, when blood sugar is chaotic, your entire endocrine system is basically cleaning up the mess. When blood sugar is stable, on the other hand, now everything else has a chance to settle down. First of all, let's have a look how often you eat. Most of you are either skipping meals because you're in the next diet, because you're trying to lose weight, or you run on caffeine, and then you face plant on carbs. Or you might be grazing all day long, and neither helps. For most of you, 3 solid meals a day is a sweet spot and a good spot. And then what's going to be very important is that we're keeping those meals protein-based. And if you need a snack, also choose a protein-based snack, because proper meals that actually fill you reduce constant insulin stimulation and stop the crash and snack cycle. And if you're someone who gets nauseous or shaky when you go too long without food, don't force fasting. We're not doing punishment, we're doing stability. The goal is fewer spikes, fewer crashes, and nervous system that isn't panicking. So if you need 5 meals a day, then go for that in the beginning and make your way up. And as more you look after blood sugar stability, as less you will need to snack. I promise you that. Second is obviously what you eat. This is where most of you really overcomplicate it. Every single meal should be built like this: protein, fiber, fat. And carbohydrates are allowed too, of course, but don't make them the star of the show. Protein. Protein is the most important thing in your meals. Protein is like the brake pedal. If you do nothing else after this video, then please just remember to put protein at every single meal, especially at breakfast. Breakfast matters because it sets up your blood sugar rhythm for the whole day. If you start with naked carbs like plain oats or a toast with jam, cereal, or smoothie that's basically just fruit sugar, then you're more likely to be hungry and craving and tired by mid-morning. If you want to aim for around 30 grams of protein at breakfast, that'll be great. But if you're currently doing basically 0, then even 20 grams is a massive win. Now think eggs, more eggs, or maybe Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese, smoked salmon, tofu, leftover chicken, protein chia pudding, or soup, even soup. Yes, for breakfast, soup, why not? Who says you need a sweet breakfast? Nobody, that's marketing. If you love sweet, yes, fine, but put protein first, no matter what you do. Number 3 on the list is the order you eat your food. This is such a simple trick, and it works ridiculously well. Veggies first, then protein and fats, and then the carbs at the very end. Veggies and fiber create a buffer that slows glucose absorption, and then protein and fat further slow down digestion. And then if you want carbs, yeah, add them then. Rice, pasta, bread, maybe if you really have to, but have them last. And yes, it's also completely okay to have a meal with no carbs. Yes, I'm saying it again, you don't have to have carbs at every single meal. You're not going to explode, especially if you are someone with PCOS, for example, or you have diabetes, or you have insulin resistance. Then it's okay to go without carbs for a meal. Absolutely. I don't eat any carbohydrates at lunch and dinner in my follicular phase. I keep the carbs at breakfast because I like a sweet breakfast. But then I don't eat any carbs for the rest of the day, and I thrive on this. That puts me into ketosis, and I'm loving it. I'm not doing this in my luteal phase, no, and you neither, but in your follicular, go for it. It's great. My fourth tip is eat more fiber. Do we need fiber to survive? Well, we can argue about this because when we look at the carnivore community, they do very well without fiber. But what we can't debate is that fiber slows down the rise of blood sugar. And for most of you, it helps with digestion and the clearance of estrogen and a healthier gut environment. Good forms of fiber are leafy greens, broccoli, then cauliflower, zucchini, but especially seeds, flax seeds. I love them. Chia seeds, so good. But also lentils, chickpeas, beans, and then those ones, because they're actually carbohydrates, are full of carbs, pair them with protein. But quinoa is maybe another thing you could add, which is good because quinoa is full of protein. Number 5 is the most underrated hack of all. It's 10 minutes of movement after your meal. I'm not joking when I say this. This can be more powerful than almost anything else for blood sugar control. A brisk walk after lunch or dinner helps your muscles to pull glucose out of the bloodstream without needing as much insulin. You don't need a fancy workout. No, you just need to walk, and you need consistency. If you can do after meal walks after both lunch and dinner, absolutely amazing. If you can only get one in after dinner, maybe, great. That's amazing. This is one of those tiny habits that can change really everything. Number 6 on the list is strength training, and I love it. I run to the gym all the time. And yes, muscles improve insulin sensitivity, and that means your body handles carbohydrates so much better. And then your blood sugar is more stable and your hormones often feel much calmer. But if you hate the gym, don't do that for blood sugar. That's ridiculous. Your life is not supposed to be miserable. Now, I want you to find something where you have joy. Find something that builds muscle and also brings you actually some peace and happiness. Now, maybe it's dancing, Pilates, body workouts at home. Maybe you like swimming or hiking. It doesn't really matter. It's all building some sort of muscle over time. Just move your body and move it in a way that feels doable and enjoyable. Number 7 is, yes, of course, it's sleep. Sleep, 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 because you can eat like a saint and still have really bad blood sugar control if you're sleeping just 4 or 5 hours. Poor sleep raises cortisol, and cortisol makes your body more insulin resistant. And that means higher blood sugar and more cravings the next day. So if you want a practical sleep target here, sleep 7 to 8 hours consistently. Consistent bedtime, go to bed at 10 o'clock. And if you can, have some morning light exposure. And also reduce late night scrolling. Obviously, put that phone away from you. Now, when you start changing all of this, I know it can feel hard. Your cravings might scream for a week or two. Your brain might throw a tantrum. But for fuck's sake, it's normal. And don't beat yourself up for that. And also don't aim for perfect. Aim for consistency. Get it done again the next day. Protein at breakfast. Balanced meals, veggies first, walk after meals, sleep as best as you can. This is how you create stability. And you create it in a body that's been living on spikes and crashes for years. So give yourself literally a little bit of a break mentally, and off you go. One day at a time. Doesn't matter what you do tomorrow, and it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. Just today is what matters. And for today, you can do this. Now, if you're on your fertility journey and you're like, okay, I get it, but I need someone to tell me exactly what to do for my body. My blood work is all over the place, my symptoms, my cycle. Then for heaven's sake, let me help you and join my fertility circle. Type in the discount code BELLY2026 and you get 15 to 27% off, depending on which tier you choose. And at the end, don't forget this, you're fabulous and you got this.